Hey y'all, it's your girl Sia, and I am back with another video. Y'all, so I seen this post, right, on YouTube this morning where it stated that any black person that hates white people is also racist. And it had about 70K likes, right? And I was like, dang, right? Let me be clear. I don't support anybody hating somebody. I feel like that is giving way too much energy to folks that you don't really need to have that kind of energy at all. What I will say though, is I will say this just to keep touching on that, is I feel that people should be judged based upon their character, not necessarily their skin color, right? So I am actually 100% in agreement with Martin Luther King Jr. on that ideology, and I support it 1000%. The issue, however, right, is the scapegoating of Black history and the scapegoating of essentially American history, right, where folks like to pretend that racism does not exist when it does, right? And let me be clear, I do not feel like racism is simply having a prejudice or a bias. I know that when you Google the definition, keep in mind definitions of words change depending on your source, depending on, the time in history, right? So I think that it's a little bit more than disliking somebody because of their, or hating someone because of their skin color. Now, with that being said, Black people do not have the same level of power in this country as white people do. We never have, okay? Meaning that when a white person dislikes a Black person, right, because of their skin color, because keep in mind, when we look at racism in history, racism as we know it has only perpetuated what it is. And I'm talking about from a historical sense, not this modern new way of kind of looking at racism, right? I do feel that when people claim that blacks are racist against them, I feel like it's a bunch of bullshit. Now, with that being said, if Black people were going around just unaliving white people simply because they're white, that's a little different, right? Because now we're ending your life as a result of your skin color. That's different. Black people are not necessarily doing that. I understand that you see Black people who are harming whites, and obviously there are whites that harm Blacks. We try to act like that doesn't exist, but it does. And that goes back and forth between the two, right? But I don't know that all of those circumstances where a Black person has harmed and unalived a white person was simply because that person was white. Now, I'm not justifying that behavior, but I am stating that usually with Black people, there's more to the story than you just being white. If that was the case, what are you doing? Drive your car. Go. Fuck. But usually there's more of a reason to why they're doing what they're doing. And that's not to say that the white person's at fault because they were unalive. Like, no. I'm just pointing out you don't really hear stories of Blacks as you do the KKK, which is a whole other conversation, right? Just killing people just because of their skin color. That's not a realistic thing. And I think that when whites try to claim that, oh, racist acts have happened against me by the hands of a Black person, it's very disingenuous. And it's very much to kind of point the finger in the direction, and it's misleading. It's not accurate, right? Hang on, y'all. I gotta try to do this because these people parking all weird today. Hang on, y'all. I'm actually gonna buy some gas really quick and then I'll get back to my commentary. Hang on. Ooh. Actually, yeah. If I can do this right. I don't know why this lady parked. All these cars are parked weird today. And so I couldn't just pull up to the pump like I normally do. I had to like back in and then do some crazy stuff. There we go. Perfect. I'm all talking to y'all as I'm doing it like it was like last year. Give me 1 sec, y'all. Put y'all on I'm gonna put y'all on mute. Back. I'm gonna try to make this quick. If I have to do a follow-up video, I will. But here's the deal. White people have the ability to really end a black person's life. So when a white person dislikes a black person simply because they're black, that's a little bit more serious than a black person disliking a white person because they're white. I think that we forget that history continues to repeat itself. And I'm not saying all white people are like this, but a lot of people still have the same ideologies that their ancestors once did. And it's obvious based upon the policies and the politics that occur in this nation, right? And so when you have policies and politics that hold a certain group of people back intentionally, that is racism. Black people do not have that same level of power. So while hatred is never okay, regardless of the race, right? Black people's disdain for white people versus white people's disdain for black people are not the same. They are not equal to one another. Give me 1 second, y'all. So it is very frustrating when Black people try to share what they experience on a regular basis, and white people try to gaslight them by using and taking our terms and making it their own. It's not like, I don't even think white people, realistically, I don't think white people believe, like, if you went up to a white person and told a white person a Black person is being racist, I don't think that why even white people don't believe that shit. I mean, some, of course, because of where they come from and their history and their heritage. But a lot of white people see white people who claim racism, like reverse racism, as racist. Like, that very act in itself is racism. We do not live the same kind of lives. We do not have the same quality of life. And so, therefore, when people try to, again, scapegoat Black people, because that's all that is, and it's highly disrespectful, that's a problem. Now, I know that my ideologies seem very much aligned with conservative politics and stuff like that, but I do not agree with these white people that are trying to act like racism is not real. Like, the Black experience is not real. It's not okay. So that's all I got to say for now, y'all. I'm actually going to meet with one of my personal clients. So I got to hurry up and get there because I'm running late. I don't normally agree to running late, but I had to get gas. And it's throwing my morning off because this is not normally something that I do in the mornings. If you guys can imagine. So I'm a bit behind, but they'll be all right. But that's all I got to say, you guys. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. Do you think that there's a such thing as reverse racism? I'm not saying that, again, hatred is a big deal, right? Especially for the person that's carrying it. But realistically, Black people's hatred, or I don't know if it's hatred as much as it is, being wary of certain behaviors and certain ideologies that do not align with the Black community, right? I would always expect that Black people to be weary of whites because of the history. And there's been nothing done to really heal the history between Blacks and whites, because whites don't really want to have the conversation in its true, authentic form. We want to sit here and disassociate from the fact that, yes, our ancestors, right, probably did some things that we don't agree with, but then you're living out that same reality every fucking day. When you refuse to hire a Black person, we're all not undereducated or underqualified. Like, that's a goddamn lie. Okay? So when you refuse to hire a Black person because of what you've seen on the news, is that not like, that's still perpetuating the same bullshit that your ancestors once did? Your refusal to actually get to know Black people, but you want to judge us based upon what you see in the media, come the fuck on. Like, some of that shit, y'all are still upholding some of those same beliefs and ideologies. You just are. So you can't expect Black people who have been tormented. I mean, you can find that information everywhere. You can't expect Black people that have a poor history with people who look like you to automatically forgive and forget. That's not how this works. Now, should Black people allow what happened to them in the past to hold them back? No. But it doesn't change the fact that shit happened, and Black people have yet to receive any sort of real, like, I guess it would be reparations for what they've experienced and what we've gone through as a people. And that conversation is even more prevalent now that you have all these folks coming here, right? That we're all of a sudden finding all this money to give them housing, right? To give them jobs and all that shit. So I don't find white people to be honest. They're not honest in their thought process in terms of how racism actually exists. Any white person, in my opinion, that tries to flip that shit and talk about reverse racism is a racist. Okay? They want to disassociate from their own behavior, scapegoating the plight of black people as they do and have always done. It's easy to say, oh, well, you hate white people, so that's racism. What does that got to do with the food in your stomach and the money in your pocket, bro? Now, as a black person, we can say that has everything to do with our livelihood. What does me disliking the next white person have to do with them? Let's keep it 1,000. Are you losing money as a result of? No. Are you not going to be hired as a result of? No. Are you going to be treated poorly, or are you not going to get that job as a result of? No, like none of those, the outcomes of black people or white people disliking black people versus black people disliking white people, right, are more severe. They just are. You don't like me because of my skin color and you wanted to fire me, you can. And you can find any reason, such as I'm an angry black woman, I don't fit in with the culture, right? You can find all of these different terms to say what you got to say, but ultimately, you know if that person was fired simply because you just didn't like the way their hair looks, or the fact that they didn't bow down to you because they should, and that's their rightful place. Like, let's keep it a buck. Now, are black people, black people aid in their own demise? Of course, right? But that is no excuse to act like racism is not very real and does not exist. That's some bullshit. So I'm sorry, white people, if you're out here really fighting, talking about, oh, reverse racism, motherfucker, like, you don't even know what racism is. You can't even you can't even tell me that your very experiences align with mine as a black person. When I'm discriminated against, are my discrimination issues the same as yours? No. Let me be clear, not at all. So I don't know where this ideology come from. I do not agree with the thought process. I do not agree with whites when they sit here and try to call this reverse racism bullshit. You're a fucking millionaire talking about reverse fucking racism. Like, make it make sense, bro. Make it make fucking sense. How does your experience, because racism looks the same in terms of experience across the board. It wouldn't matter if you were being racist to a Mexican, a black, it don't matter. The experiences are similar. If you pulled a Mexican and a black who had both experienced racism, you would see that, what the fuck, dude? Oh my God, what idiots. You're a fucking idiot from North Carolina. Pull out. What are you doing? This guy don't know how to drive. Go. Fuck. No, don't hit your brakes. Go. What an idiot. Sorry, people are stupid these days. They don't know how to drive. Everybody looking lost. It's a light that only so many people can get through. Go. So I feel like, I just, like I said, it's not the same thing. White people are not oppressed at the same level that blacks and other races are. I think that it could be arguably, if white people want to say white males are the most disrespected or disliked, possibly. I mean, but y'all got to understand that's your history. You've got to take accountability for the shit that your community has done, just like blacks have to take responsibility for what their community has done. And the way in which you can do that is be the opposite of what people think you are. So if the idea is that you are a racist, well, then maybe you want to look into that. Maybe you want to look into why people are considering you that, and look into what makes a white person a racist. The problem is white people don't want to have that conversation. They don't. They want black people to shut up and act like everything's all hunky-dory. Meanwhile, blacks are experiencing racism all the time. Now, it may not look like Jim Crow era and shit like that, but that doesn't mean that it's any less damaging to the people that you're then telling that we should not feel a certain type of way towards because you're innocent and you do nothing wrong. The white people have a history of colonizing the world, of treating people of all different types very poorly. That is your history. That is what you are known for by people all around the world. So are we all lying about this, or all y'all, or is there some truth to it? I just think that before we can act like racism doesn't exist, right, and that certain people are exempt from that group, we really got to look at history with an authentic and lens. No matter how much it hurts us, no matter how much we don't want to hear it, we've got to have that conversation in its true authenticity. Until then, nothing is ever going to change, and that's the facts. So that's all I got to say on the matter. Damn, that truck is fast, but I'm not speeding. I'll let you speed. Yep, they're going to speed right through the red light. I'm a good citizen. I don't speed through red lights. That truck was going fast. I'm like, dude, my car got to warm up first. Give me a second. But anyway, y'all, I'm on my way to where I got to go. I got to make some money today. It's a great day. I'm getting ready for this storm. I probably will be working from home. That's more than likely what it's looking like for me. But with all that being said, y'all, now, motherfucker, you thought you was going to speed up and not let me in. I just showed you that don't work. Not for me. So, that's all I got to say on the matter, y'all. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.